May I from the outset thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding us throughout our deliberation during these 4 days. I am indeed most honored and privileged to be part of this high-level engagement. The past days have been both challenging and inspiring as we discuss socio-economic development issues of this country, especially food self-sufficiency. Food self-sufficiency has been recognized as an emerging development issue, which poses challenges for the future and no longer simply a health and agricultural issue. It is a development issue that is multi-sectoral in nature and therefore needs a multi-sectoral approach for its attainment. Each and every one of us here is an important actor in this multi-sectoral approach, and it is gratifying to note that His Excellency the President has taken the lead in making the Gambia self-sufficient in food by his various initiatives and interventions. Since 1994, he has provided hundreds of tractors to farmers, created slogans such as Operation Feed Yourself, Back to the Land, Eat What You Grow and Grow What You Eat. And now, the 2016 self-sufficiency in rice agenda. It is refreshing to note that His Excellency, the President, did not only host this cabinet retreat, but also provided us with remarkable hospitality and the required facilities to ensure the successful retreat at Yahya. This demonstrates importance and significance he attaches to government's development agenda. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to profoundly and sincerely thank His Excellency, the President, for his enduring commitment to nation building. The democracy and human rights which he has given and has been given to Gambians is the right to development, the right to education, the right for health, and the right for food and good roads. The proceedings of this retreat not only covered wide-ranging issues of national importance, but were also characterized by open, frank, and intensive interactions, which will undoubtedly help in attainment of our national development blueprints. Over 24 presentations were made, followed by questions and answers. Key conclusions and recommendations have been reached for sectors and stakeholders to accomplish. It is therefore obligatory upon all of us to diligently work as teams towards the attainment of all the deliverables as required. However, with the level of commitment and loyalty demonstrated here, I have no doubt that the conclusions and recommendations of the retreat will be fully implemented by respective sectors as a matter of urgency. On this note, I would like to express my appreciation and thanks to all cabinet ministers, the permanent secretaries, heads of public enterprises who are attending for the first time, and other senior government officials for successfully accomplishing the task set for this retreat. I am equally encouraged and delighted by your valuable contributions and active participation, especially during the plenary sessions. Let me also pay tribute to our indefatigable secretariat that worked tirelessly and professionally to produce the communique and conclusions, which now should serve as a guide. Our thanks Our thanks also go to the drivers, the security services, and the catering services for the contribution to the success of this retreat. Finally, I would like, on behalf of all present, to once again sincerely thank His Excellency the President for the warm hospitality accorded to us during this retreat in Kanilai, which started as a hamlet, then developed into a village, and now it has the trappings of a small town, moving towards a city status. As His Excellency has been telling Gambians, then he wants to build the Gambia as a city state, where the only difference between Banjul and villages will be the size and the location of the settlement. In conclusion, may I avail myself of this opportunity to thank you all once again for your positive contribution and wish you a blessed month of Ramadan and a happy 20th July 22nd anniversary celebrations in advance. I thank you for your undivided attention. So, Honorable Minister of Transport, Works and Infrastructure, you are invited to make a statement.
I bear witness that there is one God. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Sheikh, Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya Abdul Aziz Jammeh, Her Excellency the Vice President, my comrades in the Cabinet, Permanent Secretaries, Deputy Permanent Secretaries, Managing Directors of Public Enterprises, the Solicitor General, and all government officials. Your Excellency, sir, on behalf of the Vice President and on behalf of the entire Cabinet and all the participants in this retreat, we want to extend our thanks and gratitude for your hospitality. By the same token, we want to extend the same sentiments of gratitude to the Alcalo and people of Kanilai. We want to also express thanks to the staff of Sindola, the security forces, and indeed we also want to thank the Secretariat for their hard work. Even more importantly, Your Excellency, we also wish to thank you for organizing such an important retreat that relates to our collective responsibility in addressing the needs and aspirations of the Gambian people. During our meeting here, Your Excellency, we have dealt with various issues. We have dealt with issues that related to the advancement of the Gambian women. We have dealt with issues that dealt with the advancement of the youths of this country. We have dealt with issues connecting to the energy sector for the advancement of this country. Your Excellency, not only on behalf of us that are present here, but on behalf of the Gambian people, Your Excellency, we would also want to thank you for your consistent commitment and dedication towards the advancement, towards the progress, and towards the development of this great nation. And focusing on the main agenda of the retreat, that is our agenda of 2016 relating to food self-sufficiency and security. As vanguards of the July 22nd revolution, we can bear witness that His Excellency the President has been very consistent in his advocacy and philosophy of food self-sufficiency and security, not only for the Gambian people, but indeed for the African continent. And His Excellency is quite correct in pointing out that in order for the African continent to advance, we must take heed and pay more attention to revolutionizing the agricultural sector on the African continent, in the establishment of agro-industries. Because we have seen during the colonial days, and indeed neo-colonial days, that Africans are producing, for example, cocoa. And the cocoa is not processed in the continent, but processed elsewhere, manufactured, packaged, and Africans have to buy chocolate at a higher price. If we had our own agro-industries, that would not take place. Therefore, Your Excellency's advocacy of our building agro-industrial base of the African continent is indeed an advancement. And in conclusion, Your Excellency, what you have done for the Gambian people, what you have done for the advancement of women in this country, what you have done for the advancement of the youths of this country, what you have done for Muslims in this country, what you have done for Christians in this country, what you have done for the elderly in this country. May Allah the Almighty reward you and your family. May Allah protect you and guide you and give you longer life so that you will continue to lead this nation in a productive manner. Let me also use this forum to appeal to my fellow Gambians to support our 2016 agenda for food self-sufficiency and security. The fact that it is launched by His Excellency, the President, does not mean that it is an APRC project. This is a national project. This is a national project that we should all support, because if this Agenda 2016 succeeds, we will be very proud as Gambians, because success has many parents, but failure is an orphan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. I now have the honor to call upon Her Excellency, the Vice President.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, the head of this cabinet retreat, and indeed our host for this particular 8th retreat of cabinet. I want to recognize my colleagues, honorable ministers here present, the Secretary to Cabinet, senior government officials, of course including permanent secretaries, deputy permanent secretaries, heads of public enterprises here present, members of the press, protocol and security, and of course the Secretary to Cabinet, who is our chair, and all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. I want to add my voice to that of my colleague, the Honorable Minister of Works, who's rightly captured the mood of the attendance of this particular 8th retreat and past retreats as well. I want to join him and all of you here present in thanking His Excellency the President once again for a wonderful hospitality, as always. A hospitality that cannot be matched anywhere. And I know that because most of us have traveled far and wide, and we know, even in this country. What He gives comes from the heart. And He gives in abundance. And that is why we feel very much at home in Kanilai. And of course, at the end of the period, if I don't tell the security perhaps to help, some people will not go home. I know that. Your Excellency, therefore, definitely we appreciate. A lot of resources went into hosting us here in Kanilai. And like Bala has rightly said, may God, who has everything in abundance, bless you and bless you in abundance. Your Excellency, this is our 8th retreat. Even the past 7 retreats, a lot had been achieved. There's no doubt about that. The fact that we come together, we brainstorm together, we help each other together, we see each other as members of the same family, and we see the linkages with each other towards attaining a common vision, a common mission to development and meaningful socio-economic transformation for all Gambians. Shows the usefulness of the retreat itself. And Your Excellency, you've been leading in many ways, not just as head of state of this country, not just as the main visionary of all these wonderful blueprints that we have seen over the years, whether it's Vision 2020, whether it's the Program for Accelerated Growth and Employment, whether it was the PRSP in the past, and indeed, whether it's the MTEF that some of us are already starting to implement, and indeed, now Vision 2016. Your Excellency, you've been leading in many ways, like I rightly said. Even here, you participated with the rest of us. You could have said, cabinet retreat under your leadership, and you just leave it to us. No, no, no. You participated effectively, you contributed effectively as well, and all of us learned from your contributions. But not only that. As head of the family, you did not make us fear you anyway. Because we know heads of families in Africa, and in the Gambia, is no exception. That when our fathers come to our houses, everything is silent. Even if a pin drops, you hear it. A lot of jokes with each of us, irrespective of your position. You came down to earth with the rest of us. And you made everybody feel at home. That in itself is appreciated. And spending so many hours in a retreat that starts in the morning and ends at night. I think it's very rare to find a president that does that anywhere in the world, including in Africa. And that is why we are very appreciative of that leadership, sterling leadership at that, of that support, of that encouragement, and of your concern for our welfare, the welfare of this nation as well. Therefore, I just want to say that you've given everything within your means and ability to give. And it's left to the rest of us, starting from central government, those of us here present, that is the executive, of course, and all the other related agencies, the PEs are here as well. We also represented the NGOs, because they should all have registered with our various ministries. And therefore, whatever development blueprint we had, they should have incorporated their ideas into it. Therefore, it's the duty of all those I'm saying concerned, including the communities at the lower levels, to buy into this Vision 2016. It's not a Vision 2016 for President Jammeh. It's a Vision 2016 for all Gambians and for all other partners present in the Gambia. And like Bala has rightly said, it's a very good vision. The President, this is not the first time he's talked about food self-sufficiency. If all of us remembered, in 2008, there was a demonstration worldwide in the streets because of food shortage. Gambia was among the few countries where there was no demonstration in the streets because we had a president with a foresight. We had a committed leadership. And so the people who listened to him definitely ensured that they went into agriculture. But most of us did not, of course. As a result, the president had another idea, went around the world, tried to get as much resources as possible to import rice into the country so that we don't have any shortage of rice. And that's why the Jolas, the Kabunkas, and the Sereres did not demonstrate. So we should thank His Excellency the President definitely for that. No, the Fullers did not, because they ate. So, Your Excellency, whatever you tell us in the Gambia is in our interest. Like Bala has rightly said. You don't do it for yourself. You do it for the nation. And anybody who listens, I think, benefits. And I'm happy. I'm appreciative of Gambians who responded to your call of going back to the land. Today we have more land cultivated in the Gambia than before 1994. And we should appreciate it. We thank Your Excellency for that leadership. And we hope that Gambians will also see this Vision 2016 in the same light and even do bigger things. Because I was surprised. I watched television. I didn't go on tour. But I watched television and I was surprised about the amount of land that is arable in this country and available for agriculture. I didn't know about that. So that means it can be done. That means, as far as land is concerned, the resources are there. It means, as well, of course, the machinery is there because the president has been giving tractors since 1994. And it's not only tractors, like the president rightly said, that should do agriculture. You require other smaller implements, animal drawn carts and implements and so on. You require, even if you don't have the ones that are used in buffaloes, I think mainly used in Asia and elsewhere, but we have cows and we used to use them. Let's continue using what we have and we can do more. Vision 2060 is not far. Vision 2060 is around the corner. It's 1.5 years we're talking about. And we have been given a program here and a plan, and we know that if we keep to the plan and program, we should be able to definitely feed ourselves, at least. And maybe beyond 2016, we should be able to export surplus. And save foreign exchange. That foreign exchange can be used for building our infrastructure. We have a host of things to do. You know that the president's vision is wide. There's infrastructural development like he has done since 1994. and the demand is out there for him to do more. There is the industrialization aspect of it as well. Of course, with agriculture, everything is in. Infrastructure comes into play. We all had the bonds and the causeways that were to be built into the rice fields. We all had other smaller roads that would lead us to the main trunk road so that it can ease distribution and marketing of our products. You've had the issue of value adding and industrialization, starting with medium and small scale industries. And the issue of resources as well was adequately discussed. So a lot has been discussed with regards to Vision 2016. But what I appreciated was also that every presenter also showed how they would link into Vision 2016 and achieve it. What they can do in the form of services available to them, in the form of resources available to them to reach Vision 2016. We also highlighted whatever challenges we had on the way and how to address some of those challenges. And indeed, His Excellency the President gave us ideas as to what we should be doing. He has said it. He said since 1994, he's been telling us about 5-year development plans. So we should stick to that. Once we have our 5-year development and work according to them, resources may not be the actual problem. The actual problem is sitting together and planning together and going out there and implementing the plans in reality, on the ground. I think that is what it's there. We've planned here in Kanilai, but the actual planning should not be behind the desk. It should be right there at the farm. All of us put heads together there and meet as a team and implement it on the ground in collaboration with our farmers and everybody else concerned and related services. So that is the job. Time is of the essence. We don't have much time left. So I'm appealing to all of us, including myself and everybody else, to really, from today, when we go back to our offices on Monday, to start the process of implementation, because there's no time. So once again, Your Excellency, we want to thank you for your leadership and foresight, as I said earlier on, and for your support for carrying us this far, definitely as a nation, to the extent that today, everybody is proud of your leadership, not just in the Gambia, but in Africa and beyond, and everybody has a great regard for the Gambia. As I said, you've put the Gambia on the map, and we are very appreciative, and we say, may God bless you. And we can assure you, speaking for my colleagues here present, and even those not here present, in addition, speaking for the whole Gambian population, that will be behind you all the way through. Because we know that whatever you lead us to is in our interest. Whatever you tell us to do is in our interest. And therefore, we are behind you all the way through. Once again, Your Excellency, thank you very much, and thank all colleagues for their support and cooperation.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Vice President. I now have the singular honor to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic, Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Jammeh, to make a closing remark of this retreat. It is a very important retreat, a management tool for implementing the policies of the cabinet. It's a form of evaluating and monitoring the program of the policy government. Your Excellency, you are invited.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين. Your Excellency the Vice President, Honorable Ministers, Secretary of Cabinet, Permanent Secretaries, Managing Directors, all other Deputy Permanent Secretaries, and the SPAs 1, 2, 3, and AU. All other protocols respectfully observed, fellow Gambians. I thank the Almighty Allah for guiding us and protecting us all throughout whilst we are here in Kanilai, deliberating on the way forward for our dear motherland, the Gambia. I want to thank you all for coming to Kanilai and for your full participation. I want to thank the cooks who made it possible for you to be happy, because I know if you didn't eat, you wouldn't have been that productive. As I said during the opening statement, retreats are not meant to fire people. I can fire somebody anytime the person deserves to be fired. Is it a place or no? But I have work to do. I have to deliver. I have sworn before you that I will do my best, I think for more than 5 times now, either at the Independence Stadium or elsewhere. My objective is to make this country the best. 19 years coming 20, a month from now. If anybody, African, doesn't believe that without worshiping them, and you worship only the Almighty Allah, you can prosper, I think Gambia is a living example of depending on the Almighty Allah and prospering. There are challenges, yes. But I know that we are still vulnerable. In what form? In what sense? You see, whatever affects your skin, outer skin, may be easy to fix. But what affects you from inside will be a daunting challenge. And that is what we ingest, what we eat, what we breathe. What you eat will determine how long you live, your state of health and prosperity. Because, God forbid, if you are sick, you cannot be productive. You cannot also be independent. You cannot beat your chest with pride if your food comes from somebody's kitchen. So eating what you grow and growing what you eat, you have your life license in your hands. But if you eat what you don't grow, that means you don't even know what you are eating. And your health status will be determined by what you eat or what you breathe in. Africans, thanks to colonialism, we are turned from major producers to major recipients. Africa never imported rice from anywhere before colonialism, because we grew what was more than sufficient for us. Let us take this vision 2016 very seriously. But more importantly, the best ideology that you can have today is eating what you grow, growing what you eat. You can do it. No matter where you live in this country, you can grow what you want to eat. Let us also take what we have in our presentations seriously, what we need to do. As I said, if you don't plan properly, you will not be able to implement properly, and your achievements would also not be to what you expected. So let us take planning very seriously. You see, even military success is based on good planning. In fact, you read the Quran, you realize that in a human being's life, success or failure depends on your life plans. Reverend Bala Jawumpa made one important point, that Vision 2016, despite the fact that I represent and I stand and die for APRC, It's not meant for APRC only. It's meant for any good Gambian, any decent Gambian who wants to be free. It's a question of freedom. It's a question of livelihood. And Vision 2060 is not only for the Gambia, but for the whole African continent. We are sick and tired of eating rice that have been in the stores for 5 years, when we could have grown better rice. If you remember, I always tell people, well, now that I'm 49 years old, at least I lived long enough to know what was good. But the negative impact of colonialism still lingers on, up to 1994. People in this part of the country used to call dresser, dispenser, doctor. After the time I was 7 years, the only Western medicine that I knew about was M&B, May and Baker, and Kudin. But we never took those things. All people used to refuse to take Kudin and Aspro, because they say when they take it the following morning they cannot see properly. So they preferred herbal medicine. And they lived longer lives than today, when we have hospitals almost everywhere. In one of the presentations, the Minister of Health mentioned the fact that I think January 17 has been declared Natural Medicine Day. It's not traditional, it's natural. Because the white man always wanted us to use their pharmaceutical products. And so, in order to discourage us, they call it local, traditional, and witch. Okay, those who practice are traditional doctors were called witch doctors. And the moment they told a fuller man that you are a witch doctor, a traditional medicine man, he said, oh, bye-bye. Then we went to the pharmacy. Our life expectancy went from 100 years down to 45 or less. For God's sake, remember that even this so-called Western medicine is extracted from plants. But not with humanity in mind, but with commerce, a lot of money in mind. The world has become so materialistic that even the worship of Allah for some people is a waste of time. All what they can worship is money. And so, present-day pharmaceutical products are made not with the intention to save life for the sake of humanity, but to make money. Most of them have serious side effects. Sometimes you have a minor problem, and the problem gets worsened by what you take. I'm not saying you shouldn't take Western medicine. I'm not saying that. You have a choice. But if our grandfathers and great-grandfathers could live up to 100 years, when they could, not once in their lifetime did they have an injection, malaria kills people today faster than in those days when bed nets were a luxury. In those days, we had no electricity. The only electricity that you can see is when it rains and there's lightning. Today, almost all parts of the country are electrified. When I said this, made such pronouncements 20 years ago, they said, boy, see, boy, with a flower rek. I am not born to tell lies or fool people. I've been brought to serve people and get back our lost glory, and that is what I'm doing. So whatever pronouncement I make, I live and die for it. By the grace of the Almighty Allah, will be one of the, if it is not the best country, I'll be surprised if it is not the best country, the wealthiest country, and the most developed country. And by the grace of Allah, that will happen. On a final note, for that to happen, all Gambians, we must change our hearts, turn to the Almighty Allah and worship only Allah. If you are doing good, fear nobody, go on to bed. But if you are doing bad, be ready for the consequences or expect consequences at any time. So this retreat is not about somebody going home tomorrow. If you decide to go home tomorrow, yes, you will. Even if I swear that there will be going to be a ceasefire, it's not me, it's the Almighty Allah. But some of us are so destructive. We have 20 years of projects in agriculture, but prior to that, we had 30 years. Different projects in agriculture. And what we have under as achievement is less than 2,000 hectares. Am I right, Minister? Can you imagine less than 2,000 hectares? This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. We have all sorts of debt, LADEP, whatever debt, REDEP, so many WADA. There was a project called WADA. 70 years of pumping money into agriculture, and in fact, we don't even have 1,000 hectares. Can you believe this? You see, the importance of history is the fact that it allows you to know whether you're progressing or retrogressing. The Gambians didn't sit down and take a retrospect. All of Jawara's 5-year development plan, they gave priority to agriculture. Can you believe that 70 years of developed so-called projects in livestock? We don't have any national company or farmer of livestock farmer that can stand up to the latest Senegalese livestock farmer. What went wrong? No matter what or how small the money was, 70 years, and up to now you don't have 1,000 hectares of the same project cycle, one project after the other. From 1994 to date, more than $100 million have been spent in agriculture. And instead of you go to support, seeing improvement, all what you are welcome with is dilapidation. Pachar was condemned to growing rice. The people of Flodu, Sierra, who used to grow rice all year round, were condemned to growing rice only during the dry season. Why? Because when they grow rice during the rainy season, their fields become flooded, the rice becomes submerged, and they rot, and they lose an entire crop. What was the cause? Because the main drainage canal that acted as a drainage pipe in terms of flooding, when it is in times of flooding, they open the canal for the excess water to flow into the river Gambia, was blocked. And there has never been any year when there was no project in Pachar, no project director. So what were they doing until the main canal started getting blocked, clogged to a point where the last time I asked, the main canal to the river was blocked. The Minister of Agriculture was almost in tears. And when I asked, how much, why is it blocked? They said they needed funds. How much do you need? 11 million. 11 million for the canal? They said yes. The canal is open with $150,000. Then I turned around and realized that some of the plots of women's plots were dry. I said, what happened? This used to have a lot of water. They said, well, because the other canal, the distribution canal, is blocked. What happened? Yes, due to sedimentation and the fact that the women, when they harvest the rice, they throw the straw into the canal. Say yes. But what is the damn job of the project director and all the regional agricultural directors that were there? And you see that what they are doing is going to clog the main distribution canal, and they decided to leave it. And I tell them, in fact, why didn't you tell them, each woman or plot owner, to make sure that they remove the debris in the canal in front of their, well, they will not even listen to you. Go to Pachar or Sapo now. The women are harvesting, at the same time plowing their fields for transplanting, something that for the past, and only for me to realize that this has been going on since 4 years ago. And what hurt most also is the fact that that was the same area where the Taiwanese were. And every year we spend $4 million on this food self-sufficiency project. And what was even strange, Gambians were even working against it. They made sure that it failed. If I'm a foreigner trying to help you with a lot of money, and if some of your people fight me, I take the money and keep quiet. Even aquaculture, which was supposed to have spread throughout CRR, and coming down to LRR, West Coast region, 10 years, we are only restricted to the ponds in Sapo. A few ponds, for that matter. Despite the fact that a lot of money annually was put into that development of aquaculture. We have our own sons and daughters, our own brothers and sisters that were in charge of these projects, and they killed the projects. People say that I'm merciful. I don't think so. I believe in giving people a chance. But when it is too blatant, you regret it. So, we had I think, a family-like atmosphere. That's the way I am. I don't pretend. If I don't like you, you know it. If I'm angry also, you know it. If I'm happy, you know it. I don't pretend. I don't give you that deceitful smile when my heart is crying. I will never do that. I'm a true Muslim. I believe in the Almighty Allah, and I let you feel what I feel. You think it's a pleasure to tell somebody goodbye or send people to prison? No. What would I gain? After you send them to prison, then you feed them. But now that is going to change. If you send you to prison for an agricultural project, we send you to Janjambure, you grow rice. Oh yes, you failed to grow rice for the past 7 years, you will be growing rice for the next 20 years. And then you know how the farmers feel. Interestingly enough, Mr. Minister, if you send some of your officials, thank God they are normal, they went to Pachar, and ordinary women were insulting them. So then definitely, Nale Nyinkenu, Molte Batara Jube, 7 years, we were only growing rice during the dry season. Now we are going to grow throughout the year. You can go next week to that CRR, Fuladu, where your people were projecting projects of millions of dollars in order to put even less than 500 hectares under cultivation. Go and see what is happening for far less than 1% of that. In as much as Gambians believe that I'm merciful, sheer blatant wickedness will not be tolerated. All these big name projects is 2 hectares here, a dike here where, in fact, was built thanks to slave labor by the farmers, not knowing that there's a lot of money that is being earmarked for this project. But anyway, it is very simple. It's a democratic country. If you know that what you are earning as a result of your association with government is not enough, be honest enough to leave and go and find something better. But you cannot say, I'm going to enrich myself at the detriment of the masses of this country. That is treason. That's not going to happen. And I'm not going to condone it. And in my fight against corruption, I have no brother, I have no sister, I have no niece, I have no uncle. Let me make that very clear. So you have a choice. If what you are earning is not enough, leave. Go and do whatever you want to do. Would we arrest you for leaving the government and going and do business? So many people left government and they're doing their own business. Did we ever ask them, why did you leave government? No. We prefer people to be honest to themselves. So, be it and fight against corruption, there's no institution in this country that is above the law. From the street cleaner to the highest in whatever office, be it in the armed forces or whatever, as long as I'm the president of this country, that nobody is going to be spared. And the tolerance I used to have, I'm not going to have that anymore. So you have a choice. If you cannot be honest, leave. You cannot sit on a project, millions of dollars, thousands of Gambian lives depend on it, and they allow the project to be held back because of $25. Any patriotic good citizen of this country would have even spent his money to buy that bolt rather than write to the World Bank. Why didn't you even write to the ministry? Tell the minister. And let me also warn you. Managing a project doesn't mean that you are not under the minister. If it is World Bank funded, doesn't mean that you are under the World Bank. Let me make that very clear. So instead of reporting to the ministry, you decide to write to the World Bank. How do you think the World Bank would see us if a country like the Gambia writes for $25 to maintain a machine that costs more than $10 million? So also the then RVTH, a very expensive machine that cost $1.4 million, was left lying because of a component that cost $5,000. These are not stories. You ask the minister. And then when we had a good team of doctors, they were trying to frustrate them. We are building the hospital up to now. It's not finished. But I believe in giving the rest a chance to learn, make their ways or live on their own. You would have noticed a great improvement in Fonyi too. All those farms turned into a jungle. But now they're coming back into being farms, really. Because I made it very clear. There will be no time now. 20 years, I won't continue to give people what they eat for 20 years. I'm not going to do that. So you either starve or go to the farm. After all, ask the president, you expect me to go to the farm and give it to you free of charge? That's not going to happen. Whatever I get from my farms will be devoted to education and health. And of course the Hajj. Nothing less, nothing more. I will not give food aid to anybody again. Because then that will kill the purpose of eat what you grow and grow what you eat. On this note, I wish you all the best. May the Almighty Allah change our hearts to something positive, to be more patriotic and more Allah-fearing. I wish you all the best. And on this note, I declare the 8th retreat officially closed.
Excellency, I want to thank you for the closing remarks you have made for the retreat. Being a distinguished host hospitable host, all that you have done for us, for the successful of this retreat.
Gambia masale photo